Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations because we're breaking away from the one we're in now. Happy Friday. You've tuned in to a live tarot throw. Today is January 9th, 2026. It's 5-Card Friday. The tarot world wants you to see this message whenever you're tuning in, and I'm going to deliver that message to you in just a moment. I want to remind you that if you want a tarot reading during the second part of the show, please go to the chat and type in all capital letters, tarot please. You could read my messages more about requesting that reading for the second part of the show. And then before we get there in about a half an hour, we're going to be discussing spirit guides some more, picking up where we left off with our last STARCARD podcast. And I'll give a little recap in case you missed anything or in case you're new here. Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Let's have a happy Friday. Let's go to the tarot cam. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's great to have you here. I'm going to use the Robin Hood deck and throw you 5 cards to give you an inspirational, uplifting, positive message here on Friday, or whenever you're tuning in. This message will apply. So we want to say good morning to the tarot world that always brings its A game and its best material to our STARCARD podcast. So grateful that the tarot world comes prepared with all these great messages, and the tarot world does a good job of writing my scripts. So here we go. Here comes our inspirational message here at STARCARD Podcast from the tarot world. It's been making my head ring for a couple of hours already today. I think the tarot world couldn't wait to share this message with you, everybody. All right, here we go. It's all for entertainment purposes only. Let's make it fun and entertaining. Woohoo! Here we are. Is that the Queen of Swords? I'm going to check my magnifying glass. Indeed it is. The Queen of Swords tells me you were right. Hey, everybody, you were right. Let's find out what we were right about. Oh, the Fool says it's a new beginning. All right. So if you're tuned in to STARCARD Podcast and we're listening to the message Breakaway Ray says about we're breaking away from the civilization we're in now, yeah, we're right. This is a new beginning for us. One that requires meditation, says the Four of Cups, because we have to see all the cups that are there. And maybe for a century or so, we've been blocked from looking at the invisible world around us with our third eye. Time to activate it, everybody. Sweet. You know what? The universe, says the Two of Wands, the universe likes the plan that we have, and the universe is giving us the green light to go. Maybe that's why we turned on the camera today and we're having this meeting. Thanks, Tarot World. I feel supported. Oh, we're not done. What is the last card in our message? The Four of Swords reminds us to meditate. You know, when you look at that stone visage looking up into the sky, up into the flowers. I mean, it's a stone character. It's a statue, but everything has consciousness. And that statue can see things that we don't normally look at. So however you meditate, everybody, whether you're exercising or like swimming or walking or running or just taking a time out, or maybe you're one of those people who gets in the groove when you're driving. Who knows? Maybe when you were a little kid, your parents used to drive you around and make you fall asleep. In any case, the answer is through meditation. Closing our eyes, we're going to be able to see a lot more about this new adventure that we're on. We got 2 cards here reminding us to close our eyes and open our third eye. But we're right, and we got a good plan. Let's enjoy the start together, everybody. I hope everyone has a good weekend, and I want to thank the Tarot World for that wonderful message. All right. I'm going to give these a toss, and then we'll spend some time discussing spirit guides again today. And then I have a special tarot throw. We're going to invite the Tarot World to comment on communicating with spirit guides in an easy and simple way. right? All right, so let's start. I'm going to come upstairs and talk about my notes. Just in case there's someone new to StarCard Podcast, and that's quite likely. Well, I want to let you know what's been going on. I'm someone who's hired psychics on several occasions because I've been anxious to find out what's going on in the spirit world that's causing all these things going on in my real world, right? It's too bad that I was not trained in elementary school about hermetic sciences and how, you create your world on the inside and that reflects in the world outside. All right. Apparently, I'm still trying to get used to that idea because I'm looking around and I'm asking psychics to tell me about what's going on in the spirit world. And again, we all have the creative ability to change that and to manipulate that. I may have mentioned this yesterday, but there's, many people who point this out to us. Dolores Cannon is one. You could actually read her books. Her books are called the Convoluted Universe books. My book is called the Convoluted Autobiography. It's listed in the description. Okay, but Dolores Cannon talks about meeting with people's higher selves and reorganizing their lives, starting from the inside, from the subconscious. She's not the only one who does this. And we discussed very briefly, and we're going to address it again today, the concept of free will versus a life plan. So we have a life plan, so we already know what's going to happen. In fact, it's probably already happened, and we're just, walking through the steps, playing the part, watching the role. It's like watching a TV show when you have the same character over and over again. You've seen this episode before, but every time it's new for that character that you're watching. Am I getting too fired up? Maybe I had one too many cups of espresso this morning. So far, we've met some of my spirit guides, some of them. And then to the contrary, some people would say, hey, all your spirit guides are just you. They're just facets of you. If it helps you to understand yourself better by creating these cartoon characters, then go for it. So this is for entertainment purposes only. It's to give you something to think about. And that's maybe why you're here. And anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm going to now check my notes that I like to prepare carefully because I don't want to leave anything out and I don't want to waste anyone's time. So I'm guessing my messages might go for another 25 minutes. And then we'll get to the second part of the show for audience tarot throws. I guess I should go downstairs real quick and show you the decks that are in play. Just in case anyone's new here. So let's take a look at all the decks that you can choose from if you're going to request a reading today. There we go. All right. You've already seen the Robin Wood Tarot deck. We have here the Stained Glass Tarot deck. Here's one called the Neon Tarot. Here is the Old Style Tarot. And then you can also see I've got the gold foil deck, which is the gold foil version of this classic deck. I think I mentioned the Lost Soul Tarot, the Ethereal Bloom Tarot, which is right down there in the corner, and the Mermaid Tarot. Hey, everybody, you can request one of these decks if you're interested in a reading. Here we go. Back to my notes. We have to get the lights right here, too. I'm always fiddling with the lights. All right. Oh, hang on. Oh, I have one more thing to say. So yesterday, I mentioned to everybody that in the description, I put some links to some videos, and I talked about Natalie Sudman, who's another person who engineered parts of her life while she was in an astral plane. She suffered a near-death experience, and during the near-death experience, she met with the spirit guide, and they planned out how things were going to go from there. So again, there's the potential to do this kind of thing. If there isn't that kind of potential, I want to present it to everyone, and then we can rule it out together, right? But anyway, apparently there is a potential. I don't think they'd be sharing this information with us about potentially changing things if it wasn't a possibility. But I still have questions about the life plan, and let's go to the notes to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, okay. So I was about to miss something. One of the videos I put in there was a lady named Marianne Esposito. She has a cooking show called Ciao, Italia. So I wanted to tell you this quick story about Marianne Esposito's show. My dad and I were watching one day, and I wanted to share with you a time where I made my dad laugh. So I'm going to have to either recap or quickly summarize for you where I'm coming from. I didn't grow up with women in the house. My mom passed away when I was young, and then my dad remarried and had had a divorce, his first one, his only divorce. There we go. Okay, he did remarry and lived a very happy life afterwards with his third wife. But while I was growing up, women were not around the house, and there were some times when we had to go live with our grandmother, my dad's mom, in Connecticut. She had a little farm, and as I mentioned in previous videos, there's lots of things I respect about my grandmothers, and this particular grandmother was a very, very good cook. It was all garden to table food, and she learned a lot more because when she remarried, her mother-in-law, who became my step great grandmother, anyway, these ladies really knew their food, and these were old school traditions from Italy, from the hometown. So anyway, when my brothers and I had to go live with our grandmother, it was like a blessing in disguise, all right, because we were getting fed regularly. We were getting fed real good food. And as I've shared on StarCard podcast, my grandmother was always pumping us up with her positive messages from growing up during the Depression. There's more to my grandma, this one particular grandma, my dad's mom, that I want to share, which is that she pretty much raised people her whole life long. She was the oldest of like 6 or 7 siblings who came over from Italy. And because, her parents had stuff to do and jobs to do, she was like in charge of, raising her sisters and her brothers. And she told me this one adorable story about how she and her 3 sisters all had to share the same bed, but they had to sleep laterally so that they would all fit and their feet would dangle off the bed. But that was when they were all little girls. They only had one bed to sleep in. So anyway, my grandma raised the family that she grew up in. Then when she married my grandfather, she not only raised a family with him, and they had 3 children, including my dad, but she also raised my grandfather's family because their parents were gone. And my grandfather had like 4 brothers and 3 sisters. And, they were all younger than him. So, she raised the family she grew up in. She was raising her husband's family. She raised the family that she and her husband had together. And then, when she was an empty nester, she was never an empty nester because, my dad needed her to take care of me and my brothers while he was getting things situated, with our own lives. So she was always taking care of somebody. And all right, so now fast forward, it's about 15 or 20 years since I've seen my grandmother in Connecticut. It's been a long time. And my dad hasn't seen her in longer than that. And not only that, my dad missed out. I mean, I know my grandma was always a good cook, but I saw her at her advanced stage. So I knew how good her cooking was, even better than he did, and he grew up with it. So anyway, it had been like more than a decade, many, many years. And one day my dad's on the couch, he's watching a cooking show, and then this lady, Marianne Esposito, comes out. I'm guessing she was cooking zucchini. I don't know what it was, but I was like drawn to do something I never do, which is go sit on the couch with my dad and watch what he wants to watch, because usually he wants to watch stuff I don't want to watch. So anyway, this lady comes on and I like gravitate over to the couch like I'm in a trance, and I sit down next to my dad and we watch this whole show, and it's public television, so there's no commercials, and she's cooking the whole time. And I mean, it's not 100% like being with my grandma, but it's definitely reminding me about, our proud tradition. And I don't know if my dad feels as isolated from it as I do at that point. But anyway, she goes through the whole show and she presents her dish. And then I turn to my dad after the show is over, and I'm going to angle my chair so I can give you the full effect. Okay. So the show was over, and then I turned to my dad, and here's what I said. Dad, that's the woman I'm going to marry. Now, this was when I was like in my 20s, maybe early 30s. My dad and I were not like dating other ladies at the time. And I don't have a real great track record with the fair gender, but, I was only half joking. If that lady can cook like that, I'd be, you've solved most of my problems right there. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. That joke may come into play later on, but not today. But props to Marianne Esposito for sharing the culture with everybody on TV like that, sharing those delicious, wonderful recipes. And if you want to know what it's like having an Italian grandma, watch her show for a little while and see what it's like. Actually, I think the one that I linked, she hardly looks like a grandma at all. I mean, it's even more recent, yet she looks younger and more polished, probably because she's like an experienced TV personality at this time. But I know that on the day that my dad and I were watching, she looked like an adorable grandma. She had the apron on. It was so wonderful. You could almost smell what was in the kitchen. All right, am I going on too long about that? You guys are ready to hear more about my spirit guides. Let me check my notes. Okay, I talked about Natalie Sudman and Marianne Esposito. And okay, well, I'm actually going to introduce a book. More anticipatory sets, everybody. That's a joke for school teachers. So here's a book called The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide. This is the series of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's called a trilogy, but there's 4 books. Okay, it's supposed to be humorous. And you can see how long it is. And this is actually quite a nice book because it's got like the gold on the pages. No, I'm wrong about it. No, I'm right about that. It's got a little bit of gold on there. But in case you're not familiar with this book, and the book is a riot. It's like one joke after another. Totally entertaining. I've talked about Marvin the robot. I think the robot's name was Marvin. I mentioned this in another podcast a few times ago. But what I want to talk about today was I think the main character's name is Arthur. I think it just came to me. But anyway, there's this guy named Arthur. He's in England, and he has no idea that his house has been slated for demolition. And he finds out about it because the bulldozers show up at his house one morning and they're ready to knock it down. And when he goes to speak to someone about it, they explain that, the plans were in the city hall. You were supposed to go look, but I guess they didn't notify him and they were going to take out his house. And there's obviously there's peculiar things all over the book. One peculiar thing about the protagonist that we're mentioning here is that this poor man whose house is about to be demolished, he is a descendant of Genghis Khan. So he's got like real courage and bravery and a real fighting spirit. But when the bulldozer shots, so this has a cosmic tie-in, as the author Douglas Adams ties it in, and that is that it turns out planet Earth is also simultaneously slated for destruction, and they find out about this when they go off planet. And they find out, Earth is also going to be destroyed. And when they talk to the aliens about it, they're all, well, the plans are at the center of the galaxy. You guys are supposed to go check it out. Okay, so it shows that the whole cosmic relation, right? There's something going on Earth, and somehow it relates cosmologically, like old school astrologically, to what's going on out in space and all around us. Stuff we don't think about in the last couple of centuries because we're only into 5 senses, only what we can see, hear, touch, smell, and taste. Everything else is imagination and fancy, okay? And we don't know it, but we've been passively allowing people who are experts in the occult to capitalize on energies that we're not using or manipulating. We're just saying, yeah, go for it. We don't believe in it anyway. Have fun. Knock yourself out. Anyway, we're probably going to talk about this book again. Okay, am I missing any more of my notes? Let's check and see. Oh, okay. So what I didn't mention, I'm going to mention this book already. So what I didn't mention is that there's a character in the book called Ford. I think his name is Ford, and he's like part alien. I know on StarCard podcast, that's like not a big deal. Just out, among the rest of the muggles, that wouldn't fly. But anyway, Ford is from another planet, and he's actually going to rescue Arthur. And the first thing this guy does, he's acting like a spirit guide in a way, right? The first thing he does is, hey, you know what? I hear your house is going to be destroyed. Let's go get some beers. Okay? So it shows, I'm trying to point out that even your spirit guide, they have like limitations. You have your limitations. There's some things that you cannot do perhaps, but then there's also some things, there's rules that spirit guides have to follow, and they're doing the best they can, right? They're in lots of ways. We already know these people are not ethically superior to us. They're just governing another realm, and they're using different abilities that we don't use. But that doesn't mean they're morally higher than us. They don't behave better. They may know more, but that doesn't mean they treat people better. But anyway, on with my notes about spirit guides. And so what I'm trying to do is to identify who spirit guides are, talk about how to communicate with them. And as I just mentioned, we have to recognize not just our limits. And by the way, we have to start unrecognizing some of these limits. Some of these are self-limiting or society-limiting beliefs that we have, okay? So we want to recognize our limits, but we also want to recognize that sometimes our spirit guides have limits too. So it's okay to be patient with them, even though as of very recently, maybe I haven't been keeping my patience. So let's talk about some of the spirit guides I've talked about so far, some of the ones that I've met. In 2020, in April, I did a QHHT hypnosis session, and I met a spirit guide named Mary. And Mary had repeated lifetimes as a Jewish slave, maybe more than 1,000 years ago. This is information that I put together from that hypnosis session and from interviewing another psychic. And when I was presented with my spirit guide for the first time like that, and it was a woman, I got to say, I was relieved. I was relieved and I was reassured because, the whole time where I was in my life, I was thinking there's something wrong, because when it comes to me and interactions with the fairer gender, it's like magnets repelling each other. I didn't get it. But there was Mary, my spirit guide. And, she believed in me and she was there to help me. And she was noted for her compassion. All right, so there we go. Then there was another spirit guide who I created, and I created this guy in the character of Pierce Brosnan. And again, I refer you to the book, The Convoluted Autobiography. So I wrote about Pierce. I just called him Pierce. It's fan fiction, if you like. I'm not saying it's the real Pierce Brosnan. It's my spirit guide walking around as if he is that actor, with all his overlaid characters that he's played in movie roles on top of that. And so my imagination provided this spirit guide and hero of the Convoluted Autobiography. And, when you think about Pierce Brosnan, especially in the role of 007 James Bond, guy has a proven track record, right? Not just in that series of movies, but the other ones too. But, he's on the job. He's sharp. He's quick-witted. He's calm, cool, and collected. He's got equanimity. He's got all the tools he needs. He's the bodyguard I want to have. So, so far so good with the spirit guides, the compassionate, caring woman, Mary, and the dynamic, well-prepared, well-trained bodyguard in the form of Pierce Brosnan. Okay. Then I had several psychics share with me something that I already had an inkling of, and that was that one of my spirit guides was a Roman soldier. And again, I'm just recapping so far what we talked about. So it's going to be like a little bit longer than yesterday, perhaps. So ladies and gentlemen, you make your own choices. When you see the camera, go to the tarot table, I'm throwing cards. And I got a special throw coming up after I go through all my notes about my spirit guides. So anyway, we talked about the Roman soldier guy just a moment ago. Several psychics told me about him, and I liked him. And I wrote down the characteristics about him that I liked. He's on duty. He's wearing a uniform. He's protecting me. Okay. He's a spirit guide. And something I want to share, I don't know, it might be in the Psychic Liz Cross playlist, especially if you go to the Breakaway Scape. Anyway, because I met with Psychic Liz Cross like 4 times, and some of that made recordings that I've published on STARCARD podcast. But there was this one time where the Roman soldier guy came out, my spirit guide came out, and Psychic Liz Cross attempted to speak with him, and he wasn't having any of it. He's like, don't mess around, lady. And Psychic Liz Cross was saying, he's where you get your toughness from. And I'm all right. I'm glad he's being protective, but I'm all like, chill out, dude, because Psychic Liz Cross is trying to help us here. And he's all, no, I'm not taking any gut from anybody. All right. So anyway, I got respect for this Roman soldier guy. Eventually he did soften a little bit, and he helped out in our dialogue with Psychic Liz Cross. If you believe in that stuff, if I'm supposed to believe in that stuff, right? This is for entertainment purposes only. So next, I told you yesterday about the Ascendant Master. So I went to a different psychic who even told me about the Roman soldier guy. But this time, instead of appearing as a Roman soldier, he showed up as an Ascendant Master, wearing those robes that indicated mastery and not needing to go through the karma process anymore. And he had some information for me. And I believe I even read what he shared with me in a previous STARCARD podcast right out of the Convoluted Autobiography. So he gave me this very cosmic speech. He was probably plumbing the depths of my soul, and I totally felt a message reaching into me. Although when I think about the words he said, it totally doesn't make sense to me. I can't get around that perspective. For example, he was telling me that I was supposed to remember the time before religion. I don't know how many of you out there can remember that time. Okay. But there were a lot of things he said that I could feel were true, but were totally way above my head. Didn't catch on. Next page. So I met with some other psychics, and there's a group of them. I'm going to say at least three of them, probably 4 or 5. They all say, you have spirit guides and you have lots of them. And people point out this in other interviews and other places, that we all have like a pantheon of spirit guides that almost looks like Mount Olympus in the Greek myths. If you have this one problem, you go see this guy. And if you have another problem or you want some inspiration, you go see this lady, this demigod, whichever spirit it is. Now, you can play it like that. Like I mentioned earlier on in the show, you can turn them all into cartoon characters. I need someone to help me with real estate. So that's the person I want to talk to. You might even have a family member who's deceased that you can count on as a spirit guide who's going to send the information that they know. He or she is going to send it to you, in your meditation or in your dreams, or they're going to present it in such a way that you follow the right path regarding real estate or whatever interest, you're trying to pursue or whatever facet of your life you're trying to improve. So let me make sure I got everything here. Oh, there's one more thing I want to say about this pantheon of spirit guides. I think this is across the board. Almost every single time I talk to a psychic, or every single time I heard from psychics from watching videos, they always say, you choose your spirit guides. You choose them. Just like you choose your life path, just like you choose the challenges that you came down to earth to experience, you choose it all. It may not feel like it because you had the mind wipe and you have no idea what's going on, but apparently you chose it. Does somebody else feel like the spirit world is gaslighting us? You chose it. We're going to have to take their word for it because we don't know. So I wonder if they're doing the best that they can, and when they can't, is it just like in the workplace? They'll like cover it up and blame you for it. Now, I wonder why any of my spirit guides would present this opportunity to share things like that about our spirit guides. Obviously, they're giving us a chance to use discernment. Again, I'm presenting 2 different views. Have faith, blind faith, trust in your spirit guides, trust in the path. Follow the path of grace and ease. Follow your soul's calling. Okay? That's one way to do it. And just, amor fati, love your fate, whatever it is, make it work. This is the game you're in. Or on the other end of the spectrum, there's actually some guy I heard who, quote unquote, fired his spirit guides. I remember this gentleman because during the interview, he was wearing a cowboy hat. And even though he had a southern drawl and he was wearing a cowboy hat, I shouldn't say even though, he may have had a cowboy hat and a southern drawl, but he definitely knew his spirit world business. And so apparently, he thought like he knew enough to say, you know what, you 3 guys, you spirit guides are benched. I'm making my own decisions from now on. And he had the ability because he had the enhanced vision, the third eye, and he knew what was going on. This guy was really smart. But I'm not suggesting that you do that at all, anybody. I think you should do what feels right for you. I'm just presenting 2 extremes here. All right. It sure is a lot of work just thinking about it, even just listening to it and hearing Breakaway Ray and trying to keep up with him, not to mention all the notes I made. So anyway, let me continue. All right, so moving on. Yesterday, I introduced a new scenario, a new scene in which I met another version of my spirit guide. And I presented a dramatic scene in which there was a lady psychic, and I do believe this lady is also married. That's a side issue that's not important right now. So there's a lady psychic, and she has an oracle, a spiritual companion, who resembles a professor. Okay, and then my spirit guide showed up, and this guy had a long ponytail, and he had larger eyes because he's a Pleiadian, and he was a tall dude. I don't think I mentioned that before. Let's see what I wanted to say about that. I think I have to recap some stuff. Yeah, so according to the psychic, this is what she said about my spirit guide, this one that I presented to you yesterday. She says that my guide is handsome, but not too handsome. Okay. My guide's eyeballs are larger than what we are used to. He says that my spirit guide and I have worked many lifetimes together, usually as Pleiadians. And as I mentioned, he has that long ponytail. Now, I teased yesterday, and I said that, I showed up to the meeting wearing a tie, and he's got that nice ponytail. And I'm wondering, is he going to Coachella Fest? Is he going to a rock festival or something? Because I need some help here. This is business. I'm wondering if he's a little distracted. Anyway, yeah, I wrote some notes about it here. I said, from my perspective, I'm wondering if his attention as a spirit guide is drawn away from my life towards other pursuits. He's supposed to be my spirit guide, but has he got like other interests that might compete and distract him from the job he's doing? Help out Breakaway Ray or manscaping? I don't know. I want to make sure he's paying attention. All right. So I'm teasing my spirit guide a little bit, and this is not something I did, prior to like a month ago. I was always like very, very respectful, and I feel like I still am. Okay. But obviously I'm treating this guy a little bit fraternally here, and I must have chosen him for a spirit guide, and he must have agreed knowing I was going to bust some chops. And maybe he already knew that I was going to bust some chops on the internet in front of everybody. I'm trying to give everyone a different look about how we communicate to spirit guides. They're there. We've already demonstrated. The tarot world is always showing us. So anyway, there's a quote. Yeah, okay. So my spirit guide, I think, already knew how I was feeling and what was going on when I had this meeting with this lady psychic, because I want to now read to you the first thing he said to me when he got his chance to speak through the psychic. Where's my script? Here it is. So I took the hour-long meeting, everybody. I mentioned this kind of thing before, and I listened to the recording, and I typed it all out. I had to press play and record and back it up, and I didn't press record. I mean, play and stop and back it up just so I could hear everything and type it all out. Because once I typed it all out, you can see I've already highlighted some things. I've learned some more things. It was actually very important for me to type it out because I missed things just by listening to it. So here's what my guide says as soon as he gets the chance to talk to me. All right, I'm going to read right out of my script. My guide speaks. Trying to get the light right for you, not too spooky here. Okay, my guide speaks. Ray, I can't tell you how happy it makes me to be talking to you today in this way, and here is why. You need only to hold on. And when I say hold on, you know that what I mean is I want you to hold on to your life, hold on to a direction, hold on to some positive thought process. I want you to hold on to everything for the next month and a half, Earth time, because at the beginning of this year, everything is going to start to shift for you. All right. How wonderful that he would send me that reassuring message with a little clue about what's coming in the future. One of the things that they mentioned in the meeting with my spirit guide and the professor, that oracle, I call them the two ghosts in the room. One of the things that they mentioned is that I'm very skeptical. I have a healthy skepticism. So, I've been hearing messages from psychics for a long time about, oh yeah, things are going to get so much better. Everything's great. And then, I don't know, just kind of waiting around, trying to see what they're talking about. So let me continue here. Here's some things that we also discovered from yesterday. I'm recapping. This part seems important to me. Okay. It says, I'm told I'm going to need companionship, quote unquote, going forward. And we're talking about any kind of companionship. Things are a little solitary for Breakaway Ray right now. Okay. A few people tuning in right now. You're like one of the few people I get to talk to. So thanks for tuning in and thanks for listening. So they say I'm going to need some companionship going forward in the future, but the whole time, these last 6 decades, nothing's been proven except that I don't need companionship and I can't rely on people. So, you've trained me so far to know that it's not necessary. So I don't get the message. Again, like yesterday, we seem to be talking past each other. Okay. Yeah. What did you think? I got that part done. Okay. There was another thing I wasn't quite clear on, and that was I'm not quite sure my own spirit guide knows how old I am, but that's another conversation. All right. So then I was told about my life plan, right? And at the same time, I'm told that I have free will. And so I am destined to choose something of my own free will. This is an ancient argument. Are we going through a maze and there's only a certain path that we can follow and even our decisions are predetermined, or do we have free will? All right. So that's something else that, you could look up your old philosophers, get out your college textbooks, and then explore those ideas. We're not going to discuss them right now. But we did discuss spiritual Stockholm syndrome yesterday, where you end up going, my whole life is falling apart around me. Okay. I got this illness. I got this financial situation. I got this interpersonal problem. I got this work situation. I can't solve any problems. I give up. What do you want me to do? I'll just be so happy to make it stop. Okay, just make it stop. I'll do whatever you want. Okay, spiritual Stockholm syndrome. All right. Now I think I'm ready to present some new information that I learned. Yeah, it is a little bit long. You can always press stop and fast forward, but I do have some new information to share, so I could close the book on my discussions about this new spirit guide persona, this Pleiadian dude. Okay. One of the things that the 2 ghosts in the room shared with me was that I was supposed to help people see a connection between science and spirituality. And we even talked about the nervous system and the brain. And I said to the ghosts in the room that I'm pretty sure everybody knows this stuff already. So let me tell you some people that I know about that probably know about these things. I don't watch a lot of Joe Dispenza videos, but doesn't he always talk about, the pituitary gland? And didn't Edgar Casey write a book on channeling? He's not the only one who did that. Billy Carson talks about this stuff. It's all in ancient Sanskrit writings, isn't it? It's been around forever. The occult world, as we just mentioned this, the occult world knows about this and hides it from us. You know what? Go to my description and go to, there's a video from Disclosure Now. That's Arkeem Ra's podcast, where he puts up the green bomb speech. Anyway, I'll just clue you in right there. People know about this stuff. And you know what? Most people don't know about the off-world people, but the off-worlders who have hijacked the reincarnation process and pirate the soul, they know about this stuff. So, is it just my job to say, hey, everybody knows about this stuff? Again, I'm not really clear. Is my spirit guide just making stuff up so that I want to keep going? I don't get it, but I'll interrupt myself right now and say it is really important for me to turn on the camera and throw tarot cards, because whatever that entity is that's throwing the tarot cards, not only is it making me my head ring all the time, but it's delivering some messages and it's helping people. So even if I'm not seeing the goal or anything, I want to make sure that the tarot world gets its chance to talk to you. And that's why I'm turning on the camera and throwing tarot cards. So anyway, back to my spirit guides. We talked about, all these things that are actually scientific in the brain, and we're pretending it's spiritual. And it's not like, a belief system. It's actually like a way to speak to your subconscious, to speak to your brain, to activate things, to make things happen, to change your own DNA. These are all things that you can do. We hear about, there's thousands of people saying this kind of stuff. So again, that's something else I didn't quite get. So anyway, having said all that, I came up with the thought, I don't really know what you want me to do, because I can't even fix my life. And I just feel like I'm one more person on the internet throwing tarot cards. But you're telling me I'm overqualified for everything, and I can't get a job, and I'm obsessed about the injustice that took place. Something that would make me feel better, obviously, is, having a solid financial situation. And then I would be able to wipe my brow and take a deep breath and finally be able to concentrate on whatever it is my spirit guides want me to concentrate on. But, I'm just not in that situation right now. So I told, the ghosts in the room, I'm really uncomfortable with this situation where, people see me on the street. They're all, yo, Mr. Breakaway, you were my favorite teacher. What happened? And then I have to relive the trauma about what really happened, which I'm not going to discuss right now. I think that's why it's a good idea for me to move. I don't want to even the people I like, it's not fun for me to be reminded about what happened. So the response from the two ghosts was that, you know what, you're going to realize that it's no big deal. When you're dead, and you're on the other side, you're going to see it's small potatoes. They might be right. For the moment, I'm not reassured. Finally, last page, everybody. Okay, so to continue with my circumstances, I feel like I'm under house arrest. I got no income. And with all my credentials that I wasted time getting and all the gifts that I've practiced, especially with public speaking, I guess I get to bless everyone at StarCard Podcast with it. That's fun. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I really appreciate it. But so anyway, to continue, just to close out this conversation, I had to rule out this thing. So I've talked before about the story of my love life, Breakaway Ray's romantic life, okay? It's not really existent. So I want to just be clear. Like I say, I'm going to be turning 60 soon, and there's been nothing so far. So I just wanted to rule it out. So I said, okay, guys, well, before you go, you want to let me know, is there like some kind of female companionship coming my way or whatever? And, I'm going to interrupt my story right here, okay? Because I've been waiting to share this with everybody too. So, people might be saying to themselves, hey, Breakaway Ray, we hear you have some problems interacting with the ladies. Did you ever think that maybe you want to hit from the other side of the plate? Okay. And my response is, you know what? When I was a teenage boy, the poster on my wall was of Christy Brinkley. It wasn't of Patrick Swayze. Nothing wrong with that, but my preference would have been Christy Brinkley. Okay, so anyway, back to the two ghosts in the room. I'm all, yo, let's just rule it out. There's nothing coming my way, right? Blah, blah, blah. And they say, no, actually, you do have female companionship coming your way in about 2 years. Right? So, hey, Breakaway Ray, how can you get mad about this? You're going to get mad about this? They just told you. You have something to look forward to. You have female companionship coming your way. I got to wait 2 years? I already waited like 45 or 50 years. You want me to wait 2 more? Oh, by the way, why am I waiting till I'm like 63 to finally meet someone? I've had a great practice in life, a great philosophy that matches up with the title of a Bob Marley song, No Woman, No Cry. Okay, so why do I want to start in my 60s like that? Again, I feel like we're talking past each other. I don't really get it. So what I've done so far is I've emptied out onto the table all the stuff that's in my brain for you to listen to. Maybe it was entertaining, and maybe you're giving it some thought, but now I'm going to pull the rug out from underneath myself. There's a jazz musician, very famous. His name is Herbie Hancock. He still performs. I think the guy's like in his 70s or 80s. And I understand that he's very spiritually based, and he makes it very simple. He makes it very simple. And again, it goes back to, do what comes to you with grace and ease, and the universe will support you, right? And I would throw in my caveat, keep your universe updated. Treat God like you would treat your mother on Mother's Day, and connect with God every day. Hey, God, I love you. Thank you for what you brought me. This is really special. I want to let you know how I'm doing, okay? Because their perspective on what's going on our world is a little bit different. So you really do need to pray more, don't you? You do need to connect more. And then after you're done praying, don't forget to meditate and receive those messages. All right, so what I want to do, I got something unique. I'm not sure a tarot card reader has ever done this before, but I've gone through a deck of tarot cards, and I've pulled out cards to tell a story to the tarot world. So, I could speak. Obviously, I just talked for 35, 40 minutes. I can speak, but you know what? We're throwing tarot cards here at StarCard Podcast. Let's take a look at the story I wrote, the conversation I wrote with my cards, and then let's invite the tarot world to comment on that with tarot cards. All right, let's have some more fun on Friday. Here we go, everybody. All right, so here are the cards that I set aside already. And what I wrote on here is Spirit Guides. Isn't there an app? Okay. I mean, do we really have to do all the work that Breakaway Ray does? We're hiring people and speaking to psychics and drawing up questions and figuring out what our problems are, and then spending hours and days and weeks and months poring over those words and trying to figure out what they mean. So here's what I want to say to the tarot world. Okay. Whoop, that's the last message. Here we go. Hey, tarot world. Well, let's get the light right so you can see it better. All right, we'll go like this. Here we go. Hey, tarot world. This is the Nine of Swords. I'm up at night thinking about this stuff all the time. Dude, I feel like I'm being attacked on all sides, says the Eight of Swords. I can't see what's going on. I feel like I can't do anything. Dude, all I see is heartache, says the Three of Swords. It's the Five of Swords. Why are people abusing me all the time? Why can't people just be nice? What is the problem? The Five of Wands, guys, again. Dude, why do I even have to put up with this stuff? Go fight with somebody else. I don't want to be around it anymore. The Seven of Wands. Yeah, that's me. That's what I do all day. I wake up and all I do is fight things off. What, you just want me to sit there and work? Says the Eight of Pentacles. Just work? That's what I'm supposed to be happy with? Yeah, there's the Knight of Pentacles. Just keep on working. Get on that horse and slowly work very hard. And the Two of Cups says, that's your message from the spirit world. Just keep working. Because the Six of Swords says you're being guided to calmer waters from rougher waters by an invisible hand. I'm supposed to believe that, huh? Well, when do I get to meet the Queen of Wands? This lady looks like fun. How come I got to wait 60 years to meet her? Yeah, you may as well not. Just turn inward. You know, you're a hermit. Get used to it. Now, I'm quite sure that that's not the thought process that my spirit guides want me to entertain. So let's put these cards aside and ask the tarot world what they want us to think. All right, tarot world, that was kind and gracious of you to allow me to present my quote-unquote argument. And now we invite you to redirect me and redirect our thoughts so we can approach things in a positive manner in coordination with our spirit soul's path. Because this is a special time on earth and we all want to make sure we got our acts together. All you old souls tuning in to STARCARD podcast. Talking to spirit guides, is there something simpler we can do? Can't we just be like Herbie Hancock and have fun making music and putting on shows? Ooh, that one wants to come out. All right, everybody. Again, it's for entertainment purposes only. And after this, we're going to go to Audience Tarot. Let's see what the message is. Is there one? There sure is. Get that light. Oh, dude. All right. I'm going to worry about that after the show. Here we go, everybody. The Knight of Wands. We are being encouraged to charge forward energetically. Yeah, you know, really it's saying, you know, you need to thrive in life. So this guy, he's like he's in Egypt, you know, he's around those Egyptian landmarks. He may not be heading directly towards the pyramids, but he's definitely heading somewhere fast and in a hurry. He's going in the right direction of the landmarks he wants to see. Wow. And then the Devil card shows up and says, you know what? You got to let stuff go. You know, charge forward, thrive, let go what you don't need anymore. Let's show a little modesty this early in the morning here. Wow. And the Ace of Swords says that's the truth. I'm surprised it's not the Queen of Swords. Have mental clarity. Remember what you can let go and aim in the right direction, because the Seven of Cups says there's so many opportunities. They're not all good opportunities, but there's opportunities. There's your Queen of Swords. There you go. You were right, says the Queen of Swords. So to close the message, the Tarot World says, you're watching StarCard Podcast, and the Nine of Wands says that this is a picture of Breakaway Ray. This guy's gone through the ringers. He's got all those wands that are like scripts of psychic interviews that he's conducted. He's got a lot of wisdom, but he's in as much a same position as everybody else. You know, he's checking out the lady on the star card. He's trying to be inspired, and he's trying to keep himself in two worlds, the world of the water and the world of the land. Yeah, this is the Tarot World showing off, right? Okay. Thank you, Tarot World. That was an entertaining conversation. It was a conversation with one man. Let's give these a toss and check out who's in the chat. All right. I think I broke my lamp. That's why I'm laughing. So I'm going to go through and see who's in the chat. I have snow people for most of you with your names on them. And then we'll find out who wants a reading, and we'll get things going. So give me a minute, everybody. We'll get sorted out. I'm so glad you're tuning in. Thanks a lot. All right, let's see who's here. Hello, Flixlove. Hi, Nancy. Hello, Heavenly Cups. Hello, Salama. Very good. I already see Salama, what your message is. Got it. Hello, Nancy. I see yours. Hi, Kimberly Bamford. Thanks for coming back. Let's see who else we have here. Hello, Julia. Okay. Oh, hey, Jason. Missing time 420. All right. All right. Yeah, cool. All right. So let's see who wants readings here. I'm going to get out my snowman and see which ones I still have. I mean, I have them all until February. Okay, so Flix Love, Julia, Kimberly Bamford, Heavenly Cups, Salama. Those are the ones that I recognize so far. And then now I'm going to check. Okay, so these are the snow people I have so far. I've got Heavenly Cups, Salama, Kimberly Bamford, Julia, and Flix Love. Then I'm going to be making schoolhouses for other people who request, because I ran out of snowmen. Grown-ups playing with snowmen. All right. Yeah, hey, Nancy. All right. New York, my hometown. Sweet. Okay, Flixlove does not need a reading, I see. All right. That's all right. Thank you, Flixlove. Anytime. All right, and then Salama, we got you for the rest of the month. Got it. Old style for Nancy. All right, so I have to make a schoolhouse for Nancy. Hey, Nancy, do you know that song Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra sing by the same name, Nancy? Just checking. One of my favorite songs. Okay, so I got Nancy. All right, Nancy, I was just checking out your message about the purchase. Kimberly Bamford, Neon deck. Let me get that noted. Stand by. Okay, got it. Heavenly Cups, Robin Wood. Make sure I got you. Thanks for inviting me to read, everybody. Great practice for me. Appreciate it. And Julia wants one from the Neon deck. All right, hang on, Julia. Okay, Julia, I'm going to make you a schoolhouse. Okay. And I think that's what I've got. I don't know what happened to Julia's snowman. It must be around here somewhere, but I made you a schoolhouse to remind me to throw the neon cards for you. And then Kimberly Bamford also wanted the neon deck. And Heavenly Cups wanted the Robin Wood deck. Nancy, old style. Salama, a month's prognostication. Here's Julia's snowman. All right, I'll save it. And I don't see that anyone else wanted a reading, but there's plenty of time, everybody. So if you want to put your request in, be my guest. All right, so now we're going to go downstairs and throw some cards. We're going to start with Kimberly Bamford and the Neon deck. Thanks, everybody. This is going to come out well because I do have an appointment I'm going to get to. But like I say, it's going to come out perfect timing. It's going to be like my spirit guides pin it for me. All right, Kimberly Bamford, neon. All right, Tarot World. You made short work of my 35-minute lecture, Tarot World. All right, and now, how about a fun inspirational message for Kimberly Bamford, please, with this really cool neon deck. Here we go. These cards are for Kimberly. These cards are for Kimberly. Well, I just saw your message. Happy anniversary. How wonderful. That deserves so much congratulations. I mean, every year, it's like a big deal. That's so great. I'm going to throw one extra card for you and your husband there, okay? Here we go. How about a nice card for Kimberly Bamford and her husband on their anniversary? Put that one right there. And we'll check that one out at the end. What a special occasion. You're tuning in to STARCARD on your anniversary? Thank you for inviting me to the party. Great. I'll take a slice of cake. It's the Queen of Pentacles. Perhaps you feel like the Queen of Pentacles. Let's read from the book about the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles. You have high social status, prosperity, success, and financial independence. You are nurturing, practical, and providing financially. You may be a working parent or a female or a feminine person in your life who is generous and usually wealthy, charming, and has an affinity for the finer things in life. Alongside the motherly attributes, you are also talented in business and execute your plans successfully. You also enjoy making your home welcoming for guests. Yeah, it's going to be a great anniversary celebration. Next up, it's the Chariot. I think that's the message from the tarot world to keep it going. Keep it going. Going another 30, 40 years. Why not? You got a good thing going. And the Ace of Swords says that's the truth. It must be a match made in heaven. Wow. So, and I will say, the tarot world is saying, keep it going, keep going after it, keep aiming for what's true. And again, it's encouraging us to choose to thrive. Meanwhile, here's the Four of Cups. I've never been married. I haven't had a very long relationship at all, but the Four of Cups reminds us to consider things deeply. And I guess you could see like there's a tree, and I think there's someone facing the tree. There appears to be a cup that's missing, but that's the one from the universe. And we just meditate at the wonder and the beauty that the universe has provided for us. Look at that tree lighting up for the person. From that person's perspective, there's more beauty in the tree than you normally see when you just walk by it. So, maybe your marriage is intensely beautiful and rewarding. That's the message I'm going to take. And then, what, did you get a Queen of Swords too? The Queen of Swords says you were right. There's lots of messages there. The Queen of Swords says you were right. You picked the right guy. Way to go, Kimberly. Okay. And look, you got queens on either end. So this is really saluting you in lots of ways, and not so much your spouse. But anyway, the last two cards say that, there's the Death card and there's the King of Swords. The Death card simply talks about change and transformation. But the King of Swords is the righteous king, okay? He's got mental clarity. Maybe this is a message that, when you married this person, your whole outlook on life, your whole life changed, which is supposed to happen when you get married, right? But, with the Chariot card saying, you could get married every year. Every anniversary should feel like the first day you got married and transformed your lives together. Here's a special card for the two of you on your anniversary. I got my fingers crossed. It's a good one. Yay. It's the Three of Cups. Go celebrate. Yay. Hey, Kimberly, this one want to join us over here too. Anyway, we should quit while we're ahead. Let me take a peek at this one. Okay. It goes along with the theme, but this was a good one to close with. So congratulations to you and Bruce. The Three of Cups says it's time to go out and party. Have a good time. Thank you, Kimberly. Hey, next up, it's Julia. She wanted a reading with the Neon deck also. I believe Julia was on Typical Skeptic podcast yesterday. Way to go, Julia. You are a go-getter. All right. Could we please have a fun, inspirational message for famous podcaster, hardworking person, Julia Anchorhaven? These cards are for Julia. A fun, inspirational message for Julia as we go into the weekend, please. Thank you. These cards are for Julia. Hey, Julia, thanks for always inviting me to read. Let's see what's happening. Next up, it's the Eight of Wands. It indicates travel, indicates flight. It also indicates that something's coming in fast. Wow. The Page of Wands, that's an announcer card, a messenger card. Why don't we read about the Page of Wands? Because it's coming in fast. You feel fresh, cheerful, childlike, and full of energy. You are having bright ideas and new exciting plans. Yeah, this sounds like Julia. You are being creative, free-thinking, and fearless. You are finding your passion, making discoveries, investments, or advancements in life. Just be careful not to rush into things without considering the consequences. Next up, you also got the Chariot card. Keep on going. And then the Five of Cups shows up. That's the disappointment card. I know that this is the disappointment card, but I like the image. I think the image is beautiful. I mean, maybe, disappointment as far as emotions go, it's just another emotion, and all emotions are wonderful and beautiful. They all teach us things. So I know it's a disappointment card, but I find the beauty in it right away. Keep going through the disappointment because you're the Page of Wands. It's happening right now. Yay, it's going to lead to the 10 of Cups. Your dream come true. Cool. And so here you go. Your last message, King of Pentacles and 6 of Wands. The 6 of Wands is the public recognition guy, and the King of Pentacles is the big sugar daddy. He's got all the power, all the moolah. All the ladies want to hang out with him. So anyway, you're going to be in a good position is what we're trying to say here. You know, you're going to be publicly recognized like a king, like royalty. So maybe, you know, in earth terms, it may be some time off, but according to the tarot world, it's happening right away. I would say it's actually happening right now. You know, if you see that this is happening in your life right now, then that's all that matters. That's really what's going on. You know, you are being publicly recognized for the riches that you share with everybody. All right. Thank you, Julia. Let me give these a toss and we'll get to our next reading. It's going to be Salama. Here we go, Salama. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to use a different deck for Salama. Here we go. I'm going to the deck with the words on them. Here we go, Salama. You wanted a look at the next month from January 9th to February 9th. That card wanted to come out. That's the 8 of Swords. That's my card that says as much as you can imagine. So from January 9th to February 9th, as much as you can imagine. Anything that your imagination creates. I mean, you have to remember the message that my spirit guide gave me, right? Hold on to something positive. Think positive things. Look for positive things. Maintain positivity. Let's get some more cards for Salama. From January 9th to February 9th. Can we please have some direction, a helpful message for Salama? All right, Salama, it's for entertainment purposes only. Clearly you're entertained. You keep coming back to StarCard Podcast. Glad to have you here. Thank you. First up, the 9 of Pentacles, the fruits of your labor. You're all ready to go. You've got everything prepared. You're almost waiting for the call. You're all set to go. And the Page of Swords says you're going to get your chance at bat, as they say in baseball. Okay, the Page of Swords talks about new ideas, curiosity, thirst for knowledge, new ways of communicating. You know, I realized that, like myself, we both had a long career doing whatever it was that we did, but now maybe there's an opportunity for us to go pursue something, go pursue an idea that we always had our eye on. It was always like on the back burner. Maybe now is the chance to bust that out again and take a fresh look at it because you've been preparing for it. You've got all the skills to explore it. The 10 of Swords says that the hard times are over. It's a gruesome image, but you know what? Again, it's over. It's done, and we can accept it. Let's read what it says on the 10 of Swords. Painful endings, deep wounds, betrayal, loss, crisis, failure, collapse, and defeat. This may be, the obstacle, but it's really just not an obstacle. It's showing us the path. You're already approaching it with being mentally and probably prepared in general for whatever this next path is going to be. And maybe we have to go back to our childhood and find out what that passion was. It's the King of Wands. He overcomes all obstacles. He sees the big picture. So this is not a problem. This is just a part of the picture. And you are encouraged to be strong with the Strength card. So the King of Wands overcomes all obstacles and sees the big picture. And since that is the case, someone who can do that has the power, is stronger. And that's going to be a good thing because you're in control, says the Emperor. As much as you can imagine, you are in control. This is so hermetic. It's such a hard message, I mean, I can't handle this message either. You're in control as much as you can believe you are in control. I'm always coming to the conclusion that I need to reshape my perspectives if I'm really in control, if I'm going to influence anything. Well, Salama, I want to wish you luck during the course of the next month, but don't forget how you're starting out. You got a lot of great things going for you. And really, your perspective is probably much broader and powerful than even you have imagined yet. I'm just trying to throw some words out there, Salama. Good luck to you. You know, all of us here at StarCard Podcast are rooting for you. Let me give these a shuffle. Yeah. I see your message, Salama. Yeah, I see your message, Salama, and you're welcome for the reading. And I do the same thing to myself all day long. I don't see where we're going, and I don't see my spirit guides activating and making things happen. Just because I don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. So hang in there, and thanks again for tuning in. And I'm happy to deliver the reading. All right. All right. So Nancy, let's go to the old style deck. In case Nancy doesn't know, the old style deck comes with a blank card. I know the blank card is in here somewhere. It's always fun when that pops out. Ask Heavenly Cups, she knows. All right, so let's get a message for Nancy using the old style cards. What's going on there? We're gonna have a do-over here. We just got started. These cards are all resorted. We need to shuffle them. All right, can we please have a fun, inspirational message for Nancy? A fun, inspirational message for Nancy, please. These cards are for Nancy. Thank you, Tarot World, for your help. Reminding us to stay positive here at StarCard Podcast. Here we go. All right, Nancy, let's start with the Two of Swords. We're at a crossroads. There's a decision to be made. We don't have all the information yet, so let's just chill and wait till all the data comes in. Then we'll know exactly what to do. The Ten of Pentacles says everything's going to be all right because there's divine harmony. There's domestic bliss involved. Wow. And then the Fool card shows up and says, you're at a new beginning. I'm wondering if I'm going to see the Ace of Cups. Is there a new addition to the family that I don't know. Let's see what the rest of the cards say here. The Five of Wands. Oh, yeah. These guys are always banging those big wands around. Conflict, disagreements. And the Chariot. What? Everyone's getting a Chariot card today? Keep things going. I would like to read about the Ten of Pentacles from the book. Ten of Pentacles, you have created wealth, financial security, and long-term success. You have built solid foundations and security, and now feel happiness in all areas of life. You may have domestic bliss, a lasting career, or a business empire, or you may have reached relationship milestones and may be settling down. You have a decision to be made. Good thing you're in the situation of the Ten of Pentacles. You'll be ready for any new adventure that comes your way, even if there's going to be conflict. That's just, somebody's always got to be dramatic. Okay. You just keep on going, says the Chariot card. And then closes with, you got the blank card and you got the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is the sleepless nights guy. He's anxious about something. But the blank card is whatever you want to make it to be. Is this guy not feeling well? Give him a hug. take him out to the kitchen and give him some warm milk and cookies. Make him feel better. Let him talk about his problems. What would this blank card be for you? I would want it to be the Queen of Wands calling me up and say, hey, mind if I come over with a pizza? Let's hang out. Something to take my mind off what's ever bothering me. Go have fun somewhere. Anyway, major purchase soon. I think that's what I just saw the message. Major purchase. You're making a major purchase. You're talking about how you're going to divest yourself or invest your wealth somewhere. It's a new beginning, whatever this is. And, I guess this represents the conflict, but you're being encouraged to move forward with the purchase. Or maybe you're thinking about going forward with the purchase and you're just not sure where it's going to lead you. I'm trying to put the story together for you regarding the purchase. I mean, this could just be recapitulating what you're hoping for. We're going to invest something to start something new. Is there probably going to be some problems going forward? Yes, we can already see that. So we're right to keep an eye on the potholes, as it were, but the future is unknown. Anyway, I'm glad you added that last message there, Nancy. I see it in the chat. I hope it makes sense. Thank you very much. Let me give these a toss. And it looks like Heavenly Cups might be my last reading today, unless somebody wants to drop in a request. Yeah, you're welcome, Nancy. Thank you very much. All right, Heavenly Cups, you wanted the Robin Hood deck. Here we go. I want to thank everyone for showing up today, even if you're tuning into the recording later. It makes a difference to me. You guys make me feel wanted. Thank you for your subscriptions out there. If you're subscribing, really appreciate it. Thanks for letting me share my crazy ideas with you, everybody. These cards are the Heavenly Cups. This ought to be good. Here we go, Heavenly Cups. These cards are for Heavenly Cups. Going intercontinental with the tarot. All right. Wow, that one popped out. Here we go, Heavenly Cups. So we see the Five of Cups. It's the disappointment card. Every disappointment is an opportunity to grow and build upon. But hey, we're starting out at the beginning with the World, which is the end. And the World card talks about completion and attainment and accomplishment. So it's almost like you got your diploma, your degree, and you're ready to go. Well, okay. She's a lovely lady. I wasn't going to emphasize this too much, but then look who shows up. It's the Lover's card. All right, so we're going to have to add some bathing suits here. So you have accomplished something, and the Lover's card tells me it's about communication and cooperation with the spirit world, and I really believe that could be what's going on. Did you have a good dream last night there, Heavenly Cups? Are you in the groove? Are you really feeling it? Are you seeing synchronicities all around you? Well, that's what justice is. That's cause and effect. You've been studying, you've been pursuing, you've been trying to reach out like the high priestess, and that's what's happening. You're getting in contact with the spirit world. You've accomplished this. You're right there. And now, since you've accomplished that, you've reached that level of consciousness, here's your Ace of Pentacles. So let's read to you about the Ace of Pentacles, get you all fired up. Your Ace of Pentacles reminds you that the time is coming for you to manifest your goals, achieve your dreams, and realize your potential. Financial new beginnings, career or business opportunities, investments, savings, prosperity, and manifestation are coming your way. Don't forget you're in charge of the manifestation. And this card is the Magician. You're going to make the magic happen. You're making me laugh, Heavenly Cups, because you have some really magical cards here. Hey. So the Five of Cups guy says, oh, I'm disappointed this didn't work out. But then it's followed with the Nine of Cups guy who's barely sober. He's the wish come true guy. Oh, did we miss out on something? Did something happen? Was something bad? Don't worry. It's a wish come true. Thanks a lot for inviting me to read Heavenly Cups. Hey, everybody. It's been another great StarCard podcast. Thanks for joining me. I wish you luck in all your endeavors. I hope you have a good weekend. You might see me before Sunday is out, so I can give you the tarological forecast for the upcoming week. All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate your support. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks a lot.